Welcome to TRS Clips, where you'll find happiness through your own curiosity. You dislike our history textbooks as much as I dislike them, and as much as my audiences have disliked the history that we're taught in our education system. I literally haven't met a historian or a researcher on the show who doesn't agree with this opinion of mine. Are you in agreement?
Absolutely. Interesting you mentioned that, do you dislike history textbooks as much as you or anyone in your audience dislikes? There's a reason for that. But just to state the blunt truth bluntly, these are not history textbooks, at least what have been prescribed for our school children all the way up to university, even postdoctoral level. These are not history textbooks. They are propaganda material.
Okay.
They are manuals for indoctrinating generations of Indian children.
You mean putting things inside people's heads so that they grow into adults who believe a certain version of history?
Not just a certain version of history, although because it is history per se, it is not just one version of history. The design is to create certain generations of indoctrinated children who are so indoctrinated when they become adults that any alternate view, or even if the truth is staring at them in the face, they refuse to believe it.
Okay.
This has been the long-term project. And you have at least 2 or 3 generations of kids who have now become adults, including people of my age and even maybe one generation before me. So this has been accomplished by rigging our textbooks.
Okay. Would you like to be challenged today, or would you like to just open up?
Your wish.
Would you like to talk about the Mughal rule, or would you like to talk about the present day history textbooks where we began? Because I think that's kind of the base layer of everything we've spoken about.
The history textbooks?
Yeah, like you said, you have a problem with how history has been written and shown to school children, which I completely agree with you upon. On so many fronts, the chapters were taught about, the way people like Alauddin Khilji have been depicted in our history textbooks. You need a movie like that Sanjay Leela Bhansali movie Padmavat to actually make you understand aspects of the truth about even the pre-Mughal rulers. And there was too much brutality that happened, which is not really mentioned in the history textbooks. There, I'm in full agreement with you. And I think we've spoken about this on the show too, Vikram Sampath, I believe. And he said that there was a committee that was created in 1947 to write history textbooks for our education system. And people were picked very carefully for that committee. So anyone who glorified people like Veer Savarkar and few other names I taken, which I can't remember, were not kept as a part of that committee. So therefore, again, the education we are being taught is a representation of a few humans who decided that this is the kind of education that India should get in the long term. The kind of history that India should learn in the long term. The good news is that young people know this. Not just because of the show, but this is just general young consciousness. Because we have Wikipedia now, we have podcasts now, we have historians like yourself coming on the show. So people are understanding the truth. My biggest problem with this whole thing is Nalanda and Takshashila were destroyed, which for me hurts me the most because so much knowledge was destroyed with it. We don't even know what we don't know in terms of the knowledge that was destroyed. And it hurts when you hear stories like that library burnt for, I don't know, they said
3 months to 6 months or something.
So that library burnt for 6 months. You've lost all that forever. That's what hurts me the most. But what also kind of hurts me is that even our history textbooks instill a sense of self-doubt and low self-esteem in students when we should actually be talking about the Chola dynasty, the Ahom dynasty, other people who are part of the freedom struggle. Like we highlight very few freedom fighters. There were so many freedom fighters that should be highlighted. We're not taught enough about the formation of Pakistan. We're not taught enough about general Indian history, even when it comes to your Chandragupta Maurya and Ashoka. When you're studying for your 10th standard exam in ICSE, you're only tested upon freedom fighters and a bit of civics.
Yeah.
Why not give that 10th standard syllabus a revamp where we're teaching those 10th standard kids that go into the world outside school knowing that you're from the country that built the Chola Empire, that built the Ahom Empire, and all these pride instilling pieces.
This was designed the way I don't know what this generation reads, but even when I was growing up in my school and college textbooks, it was not so vicious as it is now. I studied in a state board.
Vicious?
No, this distortion.
Oh, okay.
It's not so vicious. So it was still okay. Our state board history syllabus was still really okay, but the NCERT, like you said, ICSE, CBSE, these books were atrocious. The formula was simple: downplay or whitewash or distort the atrocities done during the Islamic period, and paint Hindus who resisted. They were all alien regimes, sir. Basically, it was ruled by foreigners. So when you talk about this, Muslim back projection and all that, they were all invariably, drawn from foreign blood. They were not Indians. But anyway, that's a separate thing. So instill a sense of contempt. And by painting people who resisted, Hindus who resisted these atrocities, paint them as rebels.
Like who?
Maharana Pratap?
You think he's painted as a rebel?
Of course he was.
Okay, I'll tell you what
Maharana
I know as a
Pratap- Maharana
1993
Pratap is a rebel.
born person.
Wait.
I don't look at him as a rebel, sir. And actually, I have pride that Maharana Pratap is from my
Sure,
land.
but this is what our textbooks have taught us.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Maharana Pratap was a rebel against Akbar.
I don't think it's at all this, sir.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Let's debate again.
Yes, there's nothing to debate. It is.
No, my point
Check
is...
out the history textbooks from 1974 till about 2000.
Okay.
Just check it out.
Okay, maybe here...
Maharana
it's different.
Pratap from Sisodia ancestry dynasty was a rebel who challenged the might of Akbar the Great.
Really?
These were the wordings, variants thereof.
Like, this is the first time hearing this in my life, because all I've heard about Maharana Pratap was about his bravery, about stories related to him, and there's a certain sense of pride with all the legendary Rajput kings. Prithviraj Chauhan.
Sure. Read those textbooks. Sir. These are not my words.
Okay, no, fair. Maybe you've seen something that I've not
these
seen.
are not my words. Shivaji was a mountain rat.
Those are the words used?
Yeah, mountain rat who dared to defy the might of Aurangzeb.
These are the words
These
used?
are the words.
Really?
When I say distortions, the levels at which the distortions have been made, just two examples of such great, kings who have been painted like this.
Why?
Why? Vote bank?
Break that down.
Yeah, vote bank. If you have to tell the truth about Islamic atrocities, right? The Congress party decided that if you tell those truths, it will offend the current Muslim community, of which we are the protectors, meaning we have the Muslim vote bank in our hand. So whitewash all those atrocities. Huh? Say that they were benevolent kings. They brought art and culture and building of monuments, architecture. They brought painting into India. They were patrons of music and dance. So whitewash all their atrocities. There is a wonderful book called Eminent Historians, Their Technology, Their Line, Their Fraud, which was published in 1998 by a gentleman named Arun Shourie. He has an entire chapter which is simply a list. The whole chapter is just a list of all the major distortions in history introduced by the government. The title of the chapter is Shuddho Ashuddho. Meaning, this is our version. This is our distorted version, is the Shuddha version. what real history has told so far is the Ashuddha version.
Okay.
These are all chapters. He gives complete extracts from various textbooks in both written by the state, central government and other state governments.
So are you saying that in the year 2000, with the Vajpayee government, things changed?
Things began to change.
Okay.
Things began to change.
Okay. And they're still changing?
I think there's some new education policy which I have not read in full, but I believe a lot of reforms have been made in textbooks.
I hope
History
that the new
textbooks.
education policy doesn't instill hate in the history textbooks.
So this has been the whitewashed version. So how will a child become confident, have pride, like you said, in your own land, in your own culture?
Very capitalistic answer here is, I feel education has gone way beyond schools and colleges. And Ronnie Screwwala told me this, who's running Upgrad. He said that now education is a lifelong process. And a lot of education is based on self-education, which is a representation of what you've done as well, sir. Like you've dedicated your life to history despite being like an IT professional. And I've had countless brilliant minds like yourself on the show who have similar stories. Like just out of the interest of a subject, deep dive. So even as thought leaders like yourself or as podcasters like myself, all we can do is you lead the horses to the water source. And then it's for them to drink. There'll be people who will agree with you, people who will agree with me. There'll be people who won't agree with either of us and will draw out some sort of a midpoint conclusion. But that's all we can do. Because somewhere I don't have hopes from the traditional format of education in our country. I have hopes from the new education policy, but I've also heard that it's going to take 20 to 30 years for it to completely...
Yeah, things like education are by design, by its nature, they are generational.
Yeah.
See, so any change at that level has to, the good or the bad consequences will show themselves after a generation.
Yeah.
So that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah. I hear you. And we've had a lot of people speak about British colonialism and, all its negative effects on the show. And I'm sure that the audience is also very aware by this point about everything wrong that the British has done. I know that even the government is very aware of this.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out all the other clips we've uploaded on this channel. You'll find a clip related to almost every single topic as long as you're willing to search for it.